together, we form Team RWBY.
I already made this joke in the last 2 videos, but roll credits.
And yes, before you ask, that does cause a lot of confusion.
Why do I get the feeling the writers were making a meta joke? In fact, I bet if every RWBY fan had $1 for every time a non-fan pronounced RWBY as RWBY, they'd practically have a copy of Grim Eclipse for free.
I still wonder why Ozpin let me into the school early. But, yeah, I guess he'll tell me one day.
He doesn't, and Crow does instead. The shadow for Zwei and Tai Yang is on the top layer, covering some of the grass. Like I said, Monty left this world too soon.
The remaining combatants will then fight their way through the final bracket.
This bracket system gets thrown out the window for the randomization process because, I don't know, Cinder politely asked the writers for her own plot device or something. Okay, I knew watching the World of Remnants video on Atlas was a good idea. The continent that Mantle and Atlas reside on is supposed to be an Arctic environment, so I find it hard to believe that what appears to be a yew or maple tree wouldn't have any snow on it, let alone be able to grow. A spruce or a fir tree would have been more accurate.
My BFF! No.
Still a cunt. It was awful nice for that ice bullet to reset its position twice just so Arslan could do a dramatic pose first. Bolin's T-posing.
Hey! Might be hard to eat without this.
I'm not going to sin this because the team doesn't so much as threaten to beat Emerald up for pickpocketing.
Oh, guess I dropped it. Oh, girl pockets are the worst.
Or for RWBY shrugging this off as an accident.
What's up, Em?
But because they apparently know each other. We only saw RWBY interact with Cinder and Emerald, but they never even introduced themselves on screen. Ever. Not only am I going to give this a sin, but 2, since RWBY even references Cinder by name at the end of Volume 3 despite, again, her name never even being revealed to her. Emerald, Mercury, Cinder, and Neapolitan. Wonder what team name they registered as. Chimney? No. Seaman? Seaman.
God damn it, Barb!
I'm convinced that Mercury wasn't doing an act and is genuinely that much of a weirdo. I don't even try to look for these frames at this point. They just look for me. Haha, Blake's still a cat. Yang and Blake barely react to that seismic belch, and not a single fuck is being given by the extras in the background.
If I barf, I'm blaming you.
Rooster Teeth gives its fans a complimentary brick joke.
Look, I'm sorry. Vomit Boy was the first thing that came to mind.
Oh, I get it. You're hiding a thinly veiled premonition of the edgy period behind the personality of a normally chirpy Nora. And the worst part is, it worked. You played everyone who watched this for the first time like a damn fiddle.
Fred and I have no parents.
Now I certainly want to see someone draw fan art of Nora in red dressed in Batman costumes. I swear, I don't go out of my way to look for these.
I wonder who's gonna win.
Mercury's an expert ventriloquist if he can talk and chew his food at the same time. It's harder than you might think.
As if we didn't already know.
Emerald and Mercury of Team Seaman are genre-savvy enough to differentiate supporting characters from throwaways. I can imagine the conversation between the guys of Team Bronze going like this. Bronze. Okay, we just need one more letter and we can have a team be named after me, just like Sun's. Roy. I think I know who can help with that. Her name's May, but her last name starts with a Z, so we could just use that for the name. Bronze. Well, I was hoping we could do an all-guys group like Sun, but alright. I think we could get away with it if she dresses like a reverse trap. Nolan. Good call. Now the only people who can tell she's actually a girl and not a prepubescent boy are people who either follow the writers on Twitter or look on the RWBY wiki. Fuck, maybe the edgy period's arrival was a lot more obvious than I picked up on if this song was used for the opening.
Looks like one of my favorite students, Nora Valkyrie, is charging up to use her semblance.
What?
Nolan realizes something is amiss, and he still keeps tasing Nora even as it's being explained to him why that's a very bad idea. Damn, Nora, right in the gonads.
Ren! Nora! Flower power!
Wait, what?
You would think that Sean had already briefed his team on this beforehand.
Flower power!
I think if you called their team attack Renora, then they would have picked up on what you're trying to get them to do. I mean, yeah, I drink in a bar with my name in it as well, regardless if the connection is via homonym or not. One of these things aren't like the other, and I'm not talking about the signs they're holding up.
Neptune's afraid of the water.
And how did you know about this? Is Sun really that open about telling his friends secrets? Weiss was dating Neptune, so if anything, she'd be the more likely candidate to find out this information. Scarlet Semblance lets him make clothing disappear to materialize again later. Hey, Neptune, how's that height advantage going? Think you want to start helping out Sage with some good old-fashioned sniping? Guess not. How her aura hasn't immediately shattered like her neck is a mystery. Oh yeah, that also brings me to my next sin.
Nuts. God damn it, Barb.
Oh, right, Neptune can't dance.
Winter.
I'd remove a sin for Weiss showing actual dimension as well as expressing an emotion aside from complete bitch.
So.
But then she went back into character again. Also, this is a shoulder bash and a grazed cheek at most. Yet Ruby's gripping the top of her head like she received a downward strike from someone much taller than her. Weiss is apparently part barnacle, the Half-Life barnacle, not the sea kind.
I wish to thank you for taking an interest in my sister.
I really don't like Winter's choice of words there. Hello again.
And suddenly, your recklessness makes sense.
Well, if you're going that far, I could see you inherited your abrasive behavior from your older sister.
He was drunk. He's always drunk.
Okay, now that I'm over the whole barely visible symbol on the flash thing, this part's actually really funny. And Ozpin's expression is the icing on the cake.
Schnee will discuss this incident back on my ship.
Alright, one should also discuss the jiggle physics she stole from Yang as well. How the fuck did the worm transfer over to a desk? I mean, yeah, it's also a comms device, but shouldn't the office have its own computer system and internet connection for the sake of compartmentalization and security?
And you're sure?
Bad hair, used a scythe.
For as long as you were around, you wouldn't have known Harbinger could even transform from a sword, let alone know that it was a scythe. Even during your first encounter with Crow, he still used Harbinger in its sword form.
We Schnees are unique. Unlike many, our semblance is hereditary.
So, are we looking at Mary Schnee material here, or...?
Soaring Ninja wins. Total annihilation.
I don't see a full bar of HP, so I'm not sure it's a total annihilation. Sure, you could argue that the game's dropping its name for context, but that's like saying Mortal Kombat name drops itself after someone wins a fight. It's still unconventional.
Remember, you're talking to a member of the coolest team to ever graduate Beacon.
You know, now I'm starting to understand why so many RWBY fan characters attend or graduate Beacon Academy. Luckily, I had the better idea of having mine attend Atlas Academy. Her name is Celeste Finlay, and she's a part of Team Mike.
Team Stark.
I see what you did there, Crow. Team Cardinal is once again being used as a punching bag. You can see the exact moment that RWBY immediately regrets her decision.
She's like Blake, but if Blake was ordered to spend time with you.
Oh, so Weiss.
Precisely.
Oh, shit! You know you're the worst girl when RWBY and the robot girl spit fucking hot fire in your direction.
Does she know about, you know, beep boop bop does not compute?
I'd seen this, but RWBY's already friends with the robot, so she gets a pass to say beep boop does not compute. Especially around other robots. People could give this scene shit because magnets and computers, especially hard drives, don't mix. But the truth is, you could place two much larger and powerful magnets on either side of a hard drive and it will still read and write data like normal. And in solid-state drives, the force of the magnets wouldn't damage them so much as it would be how fast the field changes from strong to weak. So I'll take a sin off this attention to detail, even if it's unintentional.
It's been precisely 1 minute, ma'am.
And your watch is 10 seconds too early. Impatient, I take it? They're so freaking adorable together. Okay, here we go. I know it was giving the show a hard time with Karn, but these two are literally written into this episode just to be annoying. Neon's played for last, and I'll be getting to that soon. I'm just gonna go ahead and save time by adding a sin for each line Flint says. In which case, 7 sins.
It'd probably take you a while, though, since you're so, you know, top-heavy.
Breasts are symbolic of maturity and fertility, qualities of a goddess.
Too bad all that money can't buy you skill.
And too bad money wasn't enough to get your voice actor to do a second take. Also, I like how Admiral Octopus put it. Flint, you literally spent the entire fight, stood in place, blowing your overpowered trumpet. You're not one to talk about skill. Neon's semblance allows her to make other people's weapons disappear. Flint's is already established as his bullshit cloning move.
That was a gutsy move, Schnee. I dig it.
The fan base already has you on their shit list, Flint. No point in being a suck-up now.
A callous old man who refuses...
Exposition.
We can fill you in on the details once we know you're with us.
And if you live through Volume 3. Wait, you did read the warning that popped up just now, right? Either way, welcome to the show's edgy period. Let the wild ride commence. Eloquently put, RWBY. There's 2 things wrong with this replay. First is the fact that there's a bone crunching sound instead of a clang from his metal legs. Second, if you look back, Mercury was facing Yang and sitting, but in the replay, he's got his back to her and he's in a fetal position. Yeah, this entire episode's just more exposition. Granted, it's good exposition, but I kinda want to sin at least one thing in this.
You're an exceptionally valuable man, Adam.
Ah, right. Adam's a walking contradiction. He's a human-hating faunus, yet his name is not only indirectly Hebrew for man, but he's named after the first human in the Christian Bible. I'm no doctor, and apparently neither is Emerald, but that cut should be a bruise if he was punched. Then again, both those paramedics are quacks if they can't tell the difference either. And here I thought the series made up its mind on if it was going to be 3D animated or 2D animated.
We wouldn't want people to see you on your feet and have this all be for naught now, would we?
Except he's caught openly standing on both legs by RWBY later on. Also, you would think that someone responsible for their cybernetic legs would be able to tell the difference between a Slaughter and a Phillips.
I want to believe you.
Huh? What's that supposed to mean?
Blake?
Yeah, Bumblebee's never happening.
All I know is that you attacked a helpless kid.
Oh, come the fuck on. Do you expect me to believe that helpless kids attend a school like Beacon?
You had a slip-up. Sometimes bad things just happen.
There's Occam's razor, and that's fine, but then there's being too stupid to notice something's amiss about the entire situation. You're a huntsman, Crow. Use that intel-gathering noggin of yours to see that Yank's been set up. Jean's left shoe doesn't have the word left scrawled on it. This is more of a medicine than it is about the actual show, but it's something true RWBY fans would get.
Do you believe in destiny?
Have I ever told you the definition of insanity?
When I think of destiny, I don't think of a predetermined fate you can't escape, but rather some sort of final goal.
Considering what happens later, the logic she's presenting means that her end goal is the end of her own life. Have I mentioned that this is the show's edgy period yet?
She swore she saw Yatsu with her in the forest during the fight with Emerald and Mercury, but he never even made it out of the Geisa fields. Stress-induced hallucinations, apparently.
Seriously? Not one person suspects that it could be something more than stress.
Oh, sorry.
RWBY didn't learn her lesson from Volume 2. Ozpin doesn't even raise an eyebrow at a fight between a robot and a huntress with a polarity semblance. RWBY, your semblance. Use it. Okay, never mind. You mean to tell me that Pyrrha isn't at least lucid enough to realize something's amiss about this? Hi. I'm Dr. Viper, and I'd like to take a moment to say that there's still a very high possibility of Penny being brought back to life, and this part is the whole reason I decided to make this CinemaSins parody of the show. Rather than debate about Penny's revival here, all I'll say is that every argument I've seen or been involved in always boiled down to the following. I'd be fine if Penny were brought back into RWBY, but I'd have a problem if she were brought back like her death didn't happen. To which I say, she's been murdered. Do you think anyone would be the same after that? You seriously didn't know about this? Wow, you're a pretty shit headmaster if you can't keep tabs on people visiting your academy, or at the very least asking Ironwood about Penny.
First a dismemberment, now this.
Mercury's only punched in the leg though. Hey, even bar bouncers need time off as well. Atlas's army uses combine technology. Bullshit.
Yang, I'm sure she's fine. She's our leader. She can take care of herself.
How did everyone manage to coordinate that?
Son! I need your scroll.
Wait a minute.
Each of you will be assigned one rocket-propelled locker to store your weapons and extra armor.
Yeah, I thought as much. So how was RWBY able to summon her locker using someone else's scroll? If there's seriously a scroll dock that connects to the entire ship, then they're just asking for a repeat of the 2008 cyber attack in the United States. Also, you would think that the Elysium Knights would be connected to a central mainframe all the way in Atlas instead of on literally one ship. Unless every student at Beacon learned the equivalent of the military grid reference system, this is also bullshit, and even then, that's one hell of a leap in logic. Okay, when this was done the first time, Monty was referencing an old animation of his, and it was great. It was top notch. But now that he's dead and it's being done again with each of the trailers, it just isn't really the same. In fact, I'd say it's borderline condescending. 2 cents.
I'll do what I do best. Lie, steal, cheat, and survive!
What the fuck is gravity?
This area is secure. We need to...
Crow has an aversion to robots. Shocking, I know. Even Murder of Birds was too busy fangasming over Harbinger to notice that Penny isn't the only android Atlas made. But that's just my theory. If Crow was trying to save Ironwood from a grim attack, it'd be faster to say, "Look out! Behind you!" or one of the more terse and militant, "Contact!" Even duck would have sufficed.
Mr. R, if you'd like to help, you can stand guard here.
Kira!
You had one job. One job.
What the fuck is Aura? I mean, sure, his sword has a super attack that comes out when he blocks attacks, but it only absorbed a couple shots from Gamble's Shroud. Hacks. That arrow wouldn't have struck anywhere near her ankle.
Do you believe in destiny?
Have I ever told you the definition of insanity? The fact that she just takes it and doesn't even struggle to move away only reinforces my theory that she's suicidal or at least suffers from depression. Why is her crown the only abiotic item that gets left behind? What about her armor? Also, Miles Luna sends a thumbs down to crush the hopes and dreams of Arcos fans, and is as fearsome as his tweets against critics are outspoken.
The night you met Ozpin, what was the first thing he said to you?
I don't know. I think it was something about...
Silver eyes.
2 damn volumes. Also, yes, I know I said 3 volumes before, but at the time, that was my 3rd attempt at doing Volume 1's CinemaSins parody, and I didn't give enough of a shit to rewrite that part of the script. You know, it was a Vietnamese artist named Dishwasher1910 who accidentally predicted that Yang would end up having at least one robot arm. And it was recently that he drew art of RWBY with cybernetic legs. Assuming this is another accidental prediction, I get the feeling Yang and RWBY will undergo a role reversal in the upcoming volumes, where Yang is having this sort of talk with RWBY instead. That backpack's gonna be a bitch to take off if you have its straps under your armor. Wow, RWBY has terrible handwriting.
And I can't wait to watch you burn.
People's capacity to draw porn in this girl is both disgusting and awe-inducing. Also, cliffhanger.
You have a fucking problem in your head. Do you think I'm bullshitting you? Do you think I'm lying? Fuck you! Okay? Fuck you!